Both of us are a single worshipper who, in respect to the united state, bows himself to his own essence in every act of bowing. None prayed to me but myself, nor did I pray to anyone but myself in the performance of every genuflection.
In this episode, we are going to talk about Ibn al-Farid, one of the greatest Sufi poets in the history of Sufism. Please like and share, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. You can also help me out monetarily. Thanks in advance.
Mystical Arabic poetry emerged concurrently with the evolution of Sufi doctrine at the outset of the 9th century and thrived over the ensuing centuries. Its inception can be traced to the spontaneous expressions of early Sufis, who renounced worldly pleasures while poetically articulating their profound love for God. Ibn al-Farid, a preeminent Egyptian poet, exemplified the pinnacle of expressing divine love through refined and aesthetically pleasing poetry. Bestowed with the title, the Sultan of Lovers, he was acclaimed by both supporters and critics alike as the foremost poet of his era. Born in Egypt in 566 1181, Ibn al-Farid grew up in a family that embraced asceticism, zuhd, fostering an early affinity for Sufism. His father hailed from Hama, Syria, and settled in Egypt, where he held the position of deciding women's rights over men in courts. Consequently, Ibn al-Farid came to be widely recognized as Ibn al-Farid. His father was recognized as the decider of rights, al-Farid. In his early years, he delved into the study of Shafi'i law and hadith, mastering various Islamic disciplines. As his knowledge grew, he felt a deep longing for spiritual seclusion, uzla, and a strong desire to follow the Sufi path. His routine included dedicating days and nights to worship on the Muqaddam mountain, which overlooked Cairo. After some time in solitary devotion, he would return to his father's company for a period before feeling the pull back to the solitude of the mountain. For many years, he led the life of a solitary devotee. In 1231, he embarked on the pilgrimage to Mecca, where he reportedly had a vision of Prophet Muhammad and is believed to have composed a significant portion of his poetry. During his time in Mecca, he had the opportunity to meet the esteemed Sufi, Umar al-Suhrawardi, from Baghdad. Ibn al-Farid is considered the greatest mystic poet in Arabic literature by scholars of Sufi literature. He is renowned for his exceptional ability to compose poems of divine love. He is also known as a Sufi poet with a highly sensitive and refined sense of emotion. When he sees something beautiful, he immediately feels its beauty. With deep appreciation, he becomes one with that beauty, and as a result, verses filled with passion and the tenderness of love are created.
Quote, "With my love, I erase the love stories of those who came before me. All lovers are my soldiers, and my rules are the ones that prevail. I am the leader of lovers, and I take refuge from those who doubt their love."
Among the threads of beauty and the delicacy of expression, there indeed emerges a tone of pride from a true lover. Ibn al-Farid openly declares himself as the leader of divine lovers. He records his mystical experiences in a small collection of praise poems, later compiled into a small Diwan known as the Diwan Ibn al-Farid. Out of Ibn al-Farid's small Diwan, two poems have gained significant popularity. One of them is titled Nazm al-Suluk, or also known as Ta'iyya al-Kubra, the greater poem rhyming in T, a poem of 756 verses.
This poem signifies Ibn al-Farid's spiritual journey to encounter his beloved. It commences by articulating the timeless anguish of being separated from the beloved. The subsequent part represents the elation and ecstasy experienced upon reuniting with the beloved.
What sets this poem apart is Its significance lies not in being crafted with conscious effort, but rather in emerging from a state of divine attraction, jadab. In this state, the poet transcended his intellectual faculties, experiencing a profound absence, gaiba, and was completely immersed in the divine presence. This poem has been regarded as an example of the poet's skill, an astonishing success, and is seen by scholars to possess magical qualities. Massignon describes this poem as a heavy tapestry in gold brocade, akin to a covering for spiritual pilgrimage. The following is an excerpt from the poem.
Quote, "And this was all, that thou didst show thyself to me in thy most perfect attributes, exceeding mortal beauty, and didst make affliction my adornment, free entire for me to wear, the which, as come from thee, proved my most fair and glorious ornament. Be it removed far from thy side by exile, hatred, scorn, abscission of all hope, it would not yield. I have no other way that I may go going from love away, and if I swerve one day therefrom, I shall forswear my faith. Or had a stray desire for other love than thine chanced in my mind, though unawares, then were I proved apostate, self-condemned. Thine be the arbitration in my case. Do what thou wilt, for never have I yearned to turn away, but only unto thee. And by the covenant of holy troth which thou didst take, what time I had not yet appeared in manifest and outward guise, as of a spirit clad in my clay's shade, by that primeval pledge, unaltering since first I took it, and the latter bond too sacred to be loosed by ardor dimmed, by that thine attribute of absolute perfection, whence the loveliest, shapeliest form in all creation manifest derives, as by thy quality of majesty that doth my torment unto pleasure turn and make my very slaying seem most sweet, as by the secret of a loveliness thy emanation, the sole origin and perfecting of every elegance in all the world for ever visible. Thou truly art my heart's desire, the goal of my long quest, the far and final end of my soul's search, my choice and chosen one. I never was bewildered till I chose thy love to be my faith. And if thou wert not the cause of my bewilderment, how great would my bewilderment have been? Whereat I said to her, Behold, my soul waiteth upon thee. It is thine to take. What matters it to me that it should hap within my hands?
Ibn al-Farid recounts the initial meeting with his beloved, describing the moment her exceptional divine beauty became visible to him and how his soul was entranced by her charm. He elaborates on how, in the instance of the beloved revealing her beauty, the pain of affliction transformed into the delightful sweetness of an adornment bestowed upon the lover by the beloved.
Having savored the enchanting pleasure of her captivating beauty, the poet asserts his unwavering commitment to remain faithful in love, even in the face of rejection, abandonment, estrangement, or separation. Love, for him, has evolved into his sole guiding principle, and deviating from it would be akin to losing his faith. He articulates the profound presence of the beloved's love in his heart, emphasizing that any inadvertent thoughts of someone other than his beloved would compel him to forsake his doctrine of love. The poet then delves into one of love's consequences, the surrender of the lover's independent will, transforming into a devoted follower of the beloved's wishes. In essence, he expresses contentment with whatever his beloved decides for him, desiring nothing except what aligns with her wishes. The poet then delves into the origin of his intense love and elucidates the rationale for steadfastly adhering to the path of faithful love. He does so by referencing the primordial covenant of love established by God before the advent of humans on the world. In this covenant, God asked the spirits prior to their embodiment in clay-made bodies with the question, "Am I not your Lord?" to which they all responded affirmatively. This divine covenant of love remained untouched and unbroken by the poet, as the passage of time neither altered nor weakened his unwavering love. Additionally, he expresses his fidelity to the second covenant of love, which served as a reaffirmation of the first. This covenant was sealed by the prophets, sent to remind humanity of their divine pact of love with their beloved, that is, God, and to uphold the principles of lordship. In expressing the intoxication of his love, Ibn al-Farid employs symbols of ecstasy that are beautifully and famously woven into his other poem, Al-Kamriya, the Wine Ode, a beautiful meditation on the wine of divine bliss. This poem delineates the effects of the wine of divine love. He emphasizes that consuming it is not a transgression, but a duty. The wine of divine love is something that makes intoxicated before the vine was even created. Ibn al-Farid states in the initial verse of his Al-Kamriya,
quote, "In memory of the beloved, we drank a wine. Intoxicated we were with this wine before the vine was created."
Here the beloved is the creator herself, the source of love. The wine is the knowledge and divine love. Then Ibn al-Farid says,
quote, "The full moon its glass, the wine a sun, circled by a crescent. When it is diluted, how many stars appear?"
The portrayal presents a sharp distinction from the conventional crystal goblet and red wine typically served by a young attendant, which is then mixed with water. In this context, the full moon symbolizes the prophet, while the sun represents the divine wine. The crescent stands for the learned individuals, and the dilution signifies the diverse religions. The stars represent the bubbles that emerge during dilution, symbolizing the masters of various religions. He further says,
"I could never reach the tavern without its fragrance. I could not have imagined it without its sparkle and radiance. Age has purified it to its essence, like a secret to be kept."
Ibn al-Farid extols a wine that predates creation itself. Evidently, the initial state of intoxication took place in pre-eternity, where all human beings bore witness before God. However, Ibn al-Farid proceeds to convey that this euphoric state is now lost, obscured by the creation that veils the beloved. There remains no trace of the miraculous wine to drink, only its fragrance persists. Yet, for those who actively seek it, even the mere mention of it is sufficient to intoxicate the spiritually attuned and stir those who have forgotten their very existence. Ibn al-Farid's poems are indeed not organized thematically. It seems that Ibn al-Farid deliberately did not attempt to structure his poems thematically and systematically, but allowed them to flow spontaneously. The profound passion and overflowing joy in Ibn al-Farid's verses reinforce the fact that they are not products of reason, but rather the result of divine inspiration and spiritual intoxication.
Quote, "And if in my ruin alone I may become your intimate, oh, hasten now my ruin, and let my life be your ransom. And as you wish, try me in my passion for you for whatsoever your pleasure is. That is my choice."
thanks for watching.